All right, this is actually 4 tablespoons of butter. I've already melted it and then kind of letting it cool back off because the recipes call for cold butter. I have done that before. I don't see that it makes a difference where you work it into the flour. I just like for it to not be too hot whenever it goes into the flour. You want to make sure you have whole buttermilk, just like you want to have whole milk whenever you do the gravy. And then this is self-rising flour. And the oven's on 425 preheating. So we're going to put a couple big scoops. I don't measure stuff that closely. That's a couple cups, should be. Let's see what this says. That doesn't say. So anyway, that looks like a couple cups to me. And I'm going to put the butter in. And then I'm going to put some buttermilk in. Well, she can measure 2 cups of flour and 4 tablespoons of butter, and then how much does it say for the milk? Where's the bag? In the trash.
Oh, okay.
This is how I do it. I just do it by sight. And see, this right here is just a little bit too dry. So I'm gonna put just a tad more
2/3 to 3/4 cup
of milk.
Yeah.
So see, 2/3 to 3/4 cup. So in other words, you gotta eyeball it. So I just put a little bit more. You don't want to put too much. Of course, if it gets too sticky, just add a little bit more flour. No big deal. Okay, so it's sticking together pretty good. I like to put a little bit of flour on the thing. On everything. Actually, I like to put a little bit of flour there. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour over here on the pan. I'm gonna cook them on. I guess you can see that. See, there's the pan sitting over there by the stove with a little bit of flour on it. And I'm gonna take these out. My hands are clean, of course. And just kind of I don't like to mash them out too flat. I like them to be kind of big. I don't work them. I don't knead them. Nothing like that, because you don't want them to get tough. Then you can use anything you want to cut them out with. You could use a glass. You could use, I happen to have a cutter, so I'm going to use it. But if you just wanted to take something like that, or smaller, or whatever size you want, you just cut them out. Lay them over here on the flour. Try to get as many as you can out of it. So my 2 cups made about 4. You might want to mix it up twice. That way you can get 8, or do 2 different batches, so that if you mess up one of them, you can do another one. It only takes 12 minutes to make them, so it wouldn't hurt to do more than 1 pan, especially since you're learning. So there's the biscuits. I like for them to touch. You can see them here. They're ready to go in the oven. When it gets to temperature, you'll make sure it's completely preheated. You're going to use the same kind of flour whenever you make the gravy. We'll do that in a few minutes. Another consideration is, since you don't know the oven, you should do 2 batches, because you might find out some things about it. Remember that you're going to put the biscuits on the bottom and let them cook for 5 or 6 minutes till they rise. Then you want to move them to the top and have them cook for probably another 5, maybe 6 minutes, 7, whatever it takes for them to brown. Okay, so here, preheating the pan. The biscuits are in the oven. After it preheated, I went ahead and stuck them in there. Either down on the bottom shelf. I guess you can see that. And they're starting to do their thing. I'm preheating the iron skillet. And I've got whole milk again.
Buttermilk.
What, Mama?
You got buttermilk.
Well, not now.
Oh.
I'm doing gravy now.
I'm sorry, I'll hush.
And this, I was trying to look, it's already cut off. But I'm not going to use the whole thing. I think it's too much. Like I recommended doing the biscuits in 2 batches, I recommend the same thing on your gravy. Because I think it's hard to make a big thing of gravy myself. You may not. But that way, yeah, you can always put them together. But you don't have to cook it all at the same time. You'll have to clean your pan in between though. And of course you gotta be careful cleaning cast iron. So that's up to you if you want to try to make it all at once or not. But it's still preheating. I don't want to put it in there too soon. Okay, I think it's preheated enough now. Oh yeah, got a little sizzle. I like for my sausage to brown, and so I'm not gonna mess with it for a minute. I'm gonna let it start to brown, because I think if you start chopping it up too soon, none of it browns. Not as good. You have to leave it alone. And when I chop it, I'll leave it alone, you know, like that, and I'll take it down some more and more, but I want to work its way up. After I get it cooked, then I will put a little bit of flour, and then I'll put the milk. I'll let you watch me do that. See, I'm starting to cut it. Just browned a little bit right there. I'll let it sit there for a little bit, and I'll probably flip it over. It's okay. Nothing is better than fresh ground coffee. See, I think they've risen up enough. Let's see if you can see them. I'm going to put them on the top shelf.
Yeah, they look perfect.
Yeah, they do. Look at you. Biscuits and gravy are very easy to make if you know how. It's one of the simplest things. Both things have 3 ingredients. We're going to add some salt and pepper to the gravy, but 3 main ingredients. And it's so good. See, to me, this is plenty of sausage. And whenever I make the gravy, I want it to be kind of thin. This might even be too much sausage just for me and Mama. But I do like the gravy kind of thin. I was making it too thick. I'm trying to thin it down some. See how the sausage is nice and brown. That's pink. Put the flour. How much flour do you think, Mama? A tablespoon or so? That's enough.
That's probably about it. You might want a little bit more, but that looks pretty good.
Because the flour is how your gravy gets thick. You know, you don't want to have too much, but you want to have enough. And here's the whole milk.
Yeah. You stir it around that so it don't taste like flour.
Well, I always put a little bit and get it going, and then I put a little bit more. You see what's going on here, I hope. I put a little bit of milk. You got to be ready with that milk, though. Once you get started with that flour and stuff, you got to keep rolling. And turn it down a smidgen. And you do want to cook it because you don't want it to taste like flour. So I always like to salt, and pepper. Put a little more milk. I don't like for it to boil too hard. You got to be ready with that milk because you don't want it to get started boiling and mess up. Mama's making fresh squeezed orange juice. Oranges are from Florida. And coffee. I'm gonna turn this gravy off and look at these biscuits. Oh, they look pretty good. I don't want to go too far. We'll get them out in just a minute. That's the thing, if you make the gravy at the same time as the biscuits, you got to keep an eye on both of them. You probably shouldn't make them at the same time the first time, because they both require attention. I don't know, they probably could stand to be a little bit browner, huh? What do you think?
It's entirely up to you. Some
think?
people don't brown at all. It's up to you.
Well, maybe we'll just take them out. Okay, so there we got biscuits. And oh, look, they didn't stick. See that? Then we got gravy. That gravy looks pretty good, huh? Look at that. Pretty perfect. I'm not used to making a big batch of gravy, so you just have to probably put a little more flour than what I did so that you can put more milk, because see how if I had put more milk it would get thinner. That's what you're doing with the flour, but you can't really add flour at this point. You have to get it in at the first. So if you happen to not make enough, you just let your pan cool off some and clean it and make another batch. All right, hope y'all enjoy it. I'm sure it'll go well.